Hello everyone, welcome back to my Maverick channel, and when you hit that like and subscribe button, you get updated on real world use cases of cryptocurrencies, you get updated on the trends, and you also learn to develop that intuitive nature or thought process that helps you discover how to navigate this cryptocurrency space. We're going to look at the consensus event happening in the United States, some miners losing money because it's a bear market. We're going to look at venture capitalist firms investing a tremendous amount of capital within different spheres in the cryptocurrency space, and also some tokens that different exchanges are bullish upon. We're also going to look at some statistics that help you essentially know how to navigate this space in terms of looking at addresses, volume within different, all kinds of cryptocurrency spheres and ecosystems. So if you're into that kind of content, stay tuned for the whole video. So here's the first thing we want to look at. You look at these two senators, Senator Gillibrand and Senator Loomis. Basically, here's what the US senators put in a crypto-friendly bill. So there's been an infrastructure bill that was passed a couple of months back or last year that was not clearly defining certain statements or words or phrases within the bill as far as regulation of digital currencies is concerned. So the clarity is to be in terms of these definitions. What do these things mean? Who is a broker? Don't just classify any cryptocurrency in the same basket because they all serve different purposes. For example, stablecoins, or here, they're saying payments, stablecoins, smart contracts, similar, all these things fit into the cryptocurrency landscape, and also the tax payments and all that. For example, provides a de minimis exclusion of up to $200 per transaction from a taxpayer's gross income for use of virtual currencies for payment for goods and services under specified conditions. Clarifies the definition of a broker for purposes of infrastructure investment because you don't want to infringe upon innovators and developers, people that can't really meet these standards like know your customer and so on. Specifies that certain decentralized autonomous organizations or DAOs are business entities for the purposes of the tax code, and it goes into, I'm going to post this in the link of the description. If this is relevant to you, then of course you want to go into the details of this. But this bill, or these additions to this bill or suggestions, they're saying that we should have more clarity, at least in the United States as far as the US is concerned. And here's a small snippet that was posted by Michael Saylor on his Twitter. Those that do not know Michael Saylor, one of the biggest proponents of Bitcoin. This guy invested a tremendous amount of money in Bitcoin to turn his company over. So one day everyone will realize that Bitcoin is a marvelous idea thanks to these people. So the senators, the articles we've just read. I'm going to just play this video. It's a short one, and you can pick a leaf from some of the things they're saying.
Hey, Senators, two questions for you. One is, and I'm sure you saw this a little over a month ago, Fidelity, the largest 401k manager in the country, announced that they were going to offer Bitcoin to users or to consumers. Companies have to choose to allow their employees to put Bitcoin in their 401ks. The Labor Department came out and said this is a terrible idea. What do you think?
I think the Labor Department's wrong. I think it's a wonderful idea. It should be part of a diversified asset allocation, and it should be on the end of the spectrum of a store of value. Obviously, if you have a fully diversified asset allocation, you have some assets that you want to produce income in the short run. You also want some assets that are just a store of value. And I think that's where Bitcoin really shines. I think it's some of the hardest money that's ever been created in the world. And for that reason, it belongs as a slice of a diversified asset allocation for retirement funds.
Senator Gillibrand, you agree, disagree?
No, I agree. And that's why this piece of legislation is so important and why it's so timely. Once you create basic infrastructure around these types of digital assets, where there are disclosure requirements, where they have a regulator, where there's full transparency, that is going to create the safety and soundness in the market that will give other people comfort that this is a market that is here to stay. It's one that is properly regulated, and one that has oversight and accountability. And that's what this legislation is going to do. So while many people are uncomfortable with where these digital assets are being used or offered today, once a regulatory framework's put around it.
So essentially, as you've heard, basically it's that clarity and also treating some of these digital currencies as, well, they could be seen as store of value when you look at Bitcoin, but also paying attention to the infrastructure and making the rules clear, making the legislation clear so that this space can actually move forward. And that's what they're appealing to. I think there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually very forward thinking, and it's going to help the ecosystem grow. Now, in terms of that, we're in the bear market, but something related to that as well. There's a consensus event happening in, well, 2022. It's going to happen in about 1 day. So it's almost here, maybe in about 48 hours, depending on where you are, the time zone. So the consensus 2022 experience, and there's a quick brief analysis or write-up of what it is. The 2022 Consensus Festival is a showcase and celebration of all that crypto has to offer. Thousands of the world's brightest minds and impactful videos will take over Austin, Texas, June 9th to 12th, and expect to see events and parties in the days before and after. This is the only festival covering all sides of the blockchain, crypto, Web3, and the metaverse. Hosted by CoinDesk, the most influential and trusted, I guess they're promoting themselves, hosted in one of America's most vibrant and creative cities. Consensus will ignite hard-hitting conversations, spark critical debates, and host one-of-a-kind experiences for how these technologies and communities are remarking the worlds of finance, investing, culture, entertainment, marketing, governance, and more. Now, guys, this is very awesome that this is happening during the bear market, because all that moon boy, moon girl excitement about this token is going to pump is not going to be there, which means most people that are going to be there actually want to learn, they actually want to build, they actually want to invest in this ecosystem. So sometimes the bear market is actually good for certain things like this. Of course, it's not good if you've lost a tremendous amount of money, but if you're invested in products that you really believe in and you believe in the long-term perspective, then all you gotta do is hodl. That's the only thing I can tell you. Then we have another article here where a hacker got paid $6 million bounty. $6 million bounty paid to a white hat hacker, likely averts sizable DeFi attack. Now, of course, this goes into the details of a platform. It was almost the next market moving DeFi hack. So Aurora, that's the name in question here, an Ethereum virtual machine built. So when you're using the Ethereum network, you can build a blockchain that's Ethereum virtual machine compatible, which means you can use it using wallets like MetaMask. It's a Web3 wallet. You can interact with the Ethereum virtual machine infrastructure by using a different blockchain. So an Ethereum virtual machine built on the NEAR protocols, that's another protocol that's, doing its own thing, trying to be its own blockchain, recently paid a $6 million reward to a so-called white hat hacker for identifying a key bug in the system. And of course, this bug would have caused over $200 million in losses. So of course, all this drama is happening in the bear market, and I guess in this case, losing $6 million over potentially losing $200 million and network effects and users and developers and trust in the community. The appeal here, or what they're trying to say here, is that they take security seriously to the point that they're willing to pay out or dish out that kind of cash. But obviously, I mean, losing $200 million and $6 million, I think it's a fair trade, including the reputation you might lose if you lose the other money. And also when it goes into other news, miner incomes under stress. So the bear market causes this. Everyone is under stress. So the miners that were generating a tremendous amount of income, of course, to maintain those factories, to maintain that infrastructure, you need to sell some of your tokens in order to pay the bills. So with the market trading near the price lows of 2021 to 2022 cycle, a great majority of investors are now holding unrealized losses. Furthermore, miners, the unrealized, of course, because you haven't sold, just like unrealized profits. Even if you've made a profit of $1 million, if you haven't sold, then it's an unrealized profit. So it's the same thing here. So furthermore, miners appear to be experiencing some income stress, with revenues falling whilst production costs climb. So of course, this is self-explanatory. Bear market revenues are less capital flowing in these kinds of infrastructures. Everyone is affected. That's how the markets move. So in terms of bullish news in the ecosystem, we have crypto exchange Kraken, which is one of the oldest, one of the best, most used out there. Says Decentraland, a metaverse platform, the Sandbox, another one, and the overall metaverse sector far outperforming market year on year. So of course, this goes into the real estate, this goes into new job creation. There's a lot of people basically earning money off creating wearables, of creating events, of selling things in this metaverse, or creating some kind of NFTs of some sort. So in Kraken Intelligence's new May 2022 market recap and outlook, the exchange giant finds coins such as the Decentraland Mana, which is a native token of Decentraland, the Sandbox Sand token, their native token, Axie Infinity XS token, the Ape coin for the Bored Ape Yacht Club, StepIn, which is one of the most popular move to earn applications out there, their token are outperforming the rest of the crypto markets. So of course, this speaks into new job creation, actual real world use cases of cryptocurrencies, because people are deriving actual value from these things. It's not just holding tokens and speculating on their price. People can actually create, people can actually change things that they want to change by creating things that mean something to them, express themselves in different kinds of ways. But with just tokens, you need a programmer, you need to have a lot of technical knowledge, and you don't have a lot of leeway to create things. So this is an example of Decentraland, what it looks like. When you're buying land, this is what they look like. Of course, if you jump into these parcels, I've showed some of these videos in the past, you can do it yourself. It's quite easy. You can jump in there and there's an interactive experience in this space. Their real economy is actually in here. So we're seeing a shift in the job market as automation is increasing. And speaking to the VCs and all this money flowing. So as we're in the bear market, there's so much money flowing in different aspects of the cryptocurrency space, especially the crypto space. Binance Labs announces 500 million Web3 fund. So the fund, backed by DST Global and Breyer Capital, will be invested in Web3 projects. So all projects dealing in this Web3 new infrastructure where you're interacting with the financial structure, DeFi, smart contracts, and all these blockchains, that's Web3. It encapsulates all that. So the Binance Labs, the investment arm of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, they always say that, but it is true, today announced a new $500 million fund. The 500 million will be invested in Web3 projects, the exchange said on Wednesday in their statement. So the fund has big backers and so on and so forth, so to increase the credibility of this. And of course, I guess in the future they'll announce where exactly they're channeling this. Of course, they haven't released so much information. They have to reduce the speculative nature of the crypto space. So I guess keep things secret, build first, then announce later, or build products later. So Crypto.com, one of the other bigger exchanges, which is Kronos, launches a $100 million accelerator for DeFi and Web3. So that's another exchange looking to invest in this space, because we don't know when the bull market will come back. It might take longer than expected, but the reason why bull markets come back is because something has been built in this space that causes the market to realize, oh, there's something in this space, let us resume. So that's when the bull market sort of comes in order. Or of course, the other features like the Bitcoin halving, where the Bitcoin reward keeps happening every roughly estimated around 4 years. So because Bitcoin ticks every 10 minutes on average, so you can calculate over 4 years average, you can cut the amount of Bitcoin rewarded to miners on the network. So every time a miner mines a block. So those different features that can add to the, or rather you can use to speculate on when the next bull market might happen, but usually it's preceded by some kind of innovation. Then in other more investment, Australia crypto exchange Swift X trading app superhero reveals a $1 billion merger. Can you believe that? 1 billion. Australia is expecting its first super app via a deal announced by crypto exchange Swift X and traditional stock trading platform superhero. So of course you can go into details of this. This is going to benefit them, but this is speaking to the larger fact of all this that's happening in this space, all the money that's going into this. And of course, crypto markets have tanked, but not blockchain based gaming. So you realize gaming, metaverse, and all these aspects, there's a lot of money being channeled into this because the market or the people with the money understand that the infrastructure that's easiest to use will pull the most kind of people. And if you're early enough to spot out some of these things, then of course you're going to have a tremendous amount of profit because of some of the speculated growth of this. The gaming industry is currently valued at around, I think, $300 billion, but the gaming industry on a larger scale, when incorporated with Web3, it's speculated to boost up to about $8 trillion. So we're looking at a real shift in the job market as far as this stuff is concerned. So there's a lot of things happening, and these things cannot happen if the bear market does not happen. So that is one of the advantages. So latest crypto venture fund drums up 110 million for Web3 startups. So of course you see Web3, that encapsulates all the things that I've said, blockchain related, manipulating smart contracts to develop these automated infrastructure that can be used to do real things like finance, keeping track, consensus, populations, trust, and so on. Don't trust but verify. So all these things that fit into these sort of buzzwords, all those things actually serve an actual purpose right now. Then lastly, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of analyzing some of your statistics, I've talked about some articles or some platforms like DAppRadar. There's others where you can straight away look at blockchains, look at the value locked in those blockchains, look at the number of users. But there's also platforms like theblockcrypto.com. You can straight away come here. For example, you can click on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, comparisons, flows, users, other things, total value locked. You can quickly look at the market state by looking at this free information that's provided for you here. And you can see this one, I just clicked on Bitcoin, and this data is provided by Copper. So on this platform but by Copper. Now it helps to promote, I guess, these people, but it also shows you that you can check the number of active addresses on Bitcoin right now. When are they spiking? What are they doing right now? As you can see, that's fluctuation there. You can see the number of network addresses on the Bitcoin network, the number of new addresses on the Bitcoin network. It dropped a little bit, but now we're seeing this happening here. So then you can also click on other things like Ethereum and then look at the volume, number of active addresses, sort of use these metrics to draw your own conclusion of what you want to invest in or when you want to invest in. And obviously you want to look out for these cryptocurrencies that are listed by some of these, should I say, these platforms that have built a certain level of credibility within the ecosystem or within the community in terms of what they report, in terms of the data that they provide. So this could help you get that serious data that you need to actually make an educated decision before you make an investment. You can see Ethereum miner revenue. If you're a miner, you can see, is this the best time to actually jump into this? We don't know. So you use some of these metrics to kind of make those decisions depending on what you're doing in this space. Copper, as a company that sponsors this data, I just thought it right to kind of click on them. They want to support institutions or serious people, the institutional gateway to digital asset investing. So you're seeing a lot of these companies coming up catering for institutions because they fit into the know your customer, KML, anti-money laundering, and all that kind of thing. And then of course other cryptocurrencies like Solana, you can see what's happening. For example, number of new addresses on Solana, this is a huge spike. Of course you have to be careful because is it manipulation? Maybe someone out there, 2 people, 3 people are creating all these addresses to make it seem like this. But also there's a lot of news in the Solana. There's a lot of news happening. Basically Solana, the network shutting down, coming back, and no publicity is bad publicity. So something that attracts attention to you just brings more people to you. So I guess these are the effects. People still trust in Solana, a lot of money being invested in Solana, and more attention to Solana. It's going off, coming back, but the faith in Solana is still there. I'm not invested in Solana, not investment advice, but these are some of the metrics you can look at when you're checking out this space. And of course, you can check out, for example, data here provided. You can look at DeFi platforms and look at where the revenue is. For example, Uniswap holds the most revenue, SushiSwap next. You got Aave, you got all these Trader Joe and so on. You got monthly revenue, this is by day. And then you can make your decision. Cumulative DeFi revenue, you can see that it has spiked so much from 2020 to 2022, the DeFi, and we're still in the bear market, but you can see there is no serious downturn in the total value locked overall in the DeFi ecosystem. So these are some of the metrics you might want to look at before you capitulate out of this market. So to be able to make those educated decisions, you need to kind of watch out and educate yourself about these different metrics. And of course, this data particularly was provided on their website by Fireblocks, an institutional custody wallet kind of ecosystem or product. They custody some of cryptocurrencies that they've researched. I've talked about them in the past. So if you're an institution, this is something you might want to look out for, but I don't think there's any sort of investment around here. But it shows that they're trusted enough to provide some of this data. And given the fact that they have their hands with institutions and other blockchains and other ecosystems, you can trust this data at least to some extent. Of course, you have to compare with different platforms before you make a final decision. All right, guys, I hope you learned something in this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.